All right. Hey. We're here. It's Friday again.
It's Friday again. Who made it through another week?
I did.
We did.
Yes, we did,
Fist
baby.
bump. All right.
Yes.
So it is Friday again, and we are here to talk marriage and relationships as always.
That's right.
So we don't know who of you out there in social media land listened to or looked at our Wednesday's podcast, which was talking about trust issues, right?
All right.
Solving trust issues in relationships or in a relationship.
That's right.
And that was episode number 105.
Mhm.
So if you have not taken the time to go look at it, you can look at it on YouTube under Legendary Relationship, or you can look at it on YouTube at Loving Beyond the I Do,
That is correct.
right? Or you can go listen to it,
Wherever you get your podcast delivered.
such as
Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts,
Mhm.
iHeartRadio, Audible,
Stitcher.
Stitcher, TuneIn, wherever you can get our
Did you say
podcast.
Spotify? I don't think.
Spotify.
All right.
Yeah.
So you can listen to it in the car. You can listen to it at work.
Yep.
You can laugh while you're doing your work. We can help you get through your day.
That's right.
So no one has to know what's in your ears. So you can listen to us about love, relationships, marriage, and all that other good stuff that we talk about, because these are issues in marriage. So again, if you have not listened to or looked at this week's podcast, it was Wednesday. It's on the screen. Episode number 105, Solving Trust Issues in a Relationship.
Yep. And you can get it right here.
All right.
lovingBeyondTheIdo.com/105.
All right. So tonight we are talking about trust issues.
Trust issues.
Trust issues.
Oh, you about to get into some stuff here, baby.
I am. And hopefully
Mhm.
I can remember all the things I wanted to talk about, because it's, as most people do, they put their notes in front of them, but I don't have my notes in front of me. So I'm going to try to remember all the important things that I was thinking about this whole week about trust issues.
Yeah.
So most of the time,
Mm-hmm.
trust issues stem from
What? What does it stem from? Me doing something wrong or your mate doing something wrong?
nope. Most of the time, it stems from childhood, because we are taught not to trust people.
Oh, so you telling me when my parents told me don't trust this person, don't do this, watch out for this person, that carried me all the way up through adulthood. So when I get with somebody and they do any of those type of
And
characteristics,
it doesn't even have to be characteristics. It's initially off the bat.
I still okay. So
We're not going to trust the person.
Ah, we're just not trusting
So
individuals.
we are half in and half out.
Okay.
So the problem with that is that our parents teach us not to trust, but they don't teach us when to trust. And so those are things that we have to learn on our own.
That's right.
And sometimes during that phase of learning, as we grow older, sometimes people abuse our trust.
Oh, that's
And
true.
so then
Right.
we then begin to mistrust.
Ah.
All right, let's say hello to our guest.
Hey, Nancy, how are you? Yeah. Looking beautiful and handsome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that
Well,
today, fam.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you
All
for
right.
tuning in.
We sure you do. You look the same. Beautiful.
Yep.
All right. So we are talking about trust issues, and we want you to join in the conversation. What are your thoughts, your opinions, your ideas, things that you have experienced that you realize that it was a trust issue in your relationship?
Or
so,
do you even recognize if it was a trust issue?
So we don't want, there are valid trust issues, right?
Right.
If your mate has deliberately abused your trust,
Right.
and you have now made the decision to stay together and move forward in that trust,
Mm-hmm.
then this has to be something that both of you decided. Both of you are now committed to the relationship. The other person who has broken that trust has, definitely
Has some
made
work to do. That's what he have.
work to do, or they have apologized, and it happens and they've moved forward, right?
Right.
So those are valid trust issues, but we really want to talk about those trust issues that are not really valid, which means that they stem from our own insecurities. So when I'm insecure about something, myself, my looks, my hair, my body,
Yeah. And we all go through it.
and every relationship goes through it, because
for
we
sure.
all have insecurities.
Right.
No one's perfect, right?
Mhm.
So if there's someone out there that feels like they've never been insecure about anything, I definitely want to hear from you.
For sure.
So, and what happens is that we inadvertently project that onto our mate.
Sure.
So it may be a beautiful woman,
Mm-hmm.
and she may be talking to you, or I may see you looking at her.
Mm-hmm.
And so that I can allow that right there to either plant the seed of insecurity
Right.
and mistrust,
Mm-hmm.
or I can choose to not let it get that far. But
Right.
whatever we focus on, that becomes a part of us. And whatever we put our time, attention, and energy in,
It grows.
it grows, right?
Right.
So we can water it and feed it. And so that small little seed then becomes, every time I see something, every time I hear something, I find myself looking at his phone. I find myself wondering where he's at.
Oh, you're not looking at the phone, are you? Oh my goodness.
So we find ourselves doing things, feeding into that insecurity,
Mhm.
which makes us believe that there's a trust issue.
Mm.
So this is about trust issues that stem from our own insecurities, and are they real or are they fantasized? And so we have to be able to determine the difference between projection
Mm-hmm.
of our own insecurities and something that is actually valid in a relationship.
Okay.
So with trust issues, as we talked about, we're taught young,
right.
right? To what?
So right, we taught not to trust anyone.
Mhm.
So now something comes up and it's like, I love you, I want to be with you, but do I really totally trust you? And if you show me anything that goes against any part of my feelings or how I was brought up or any of that kind of stuff, I don't really trust you, right? You say, well, give them the benefit of the doubt. We don't always give people the benefit of the doubt. What we say we do, and we say we're going to, we love them and we give them the benefit of the doubt, but really we don't really trust them, And then when something comes up, we say, see, I knew I couldn't trust you. Well, if you always felt that way, you're going to always find a reason to go back to say, I knew I was right. So, and that's where part of the problem comes in at, is your self-esteem and the way you were brought up not to really trust anyone. And I get it in this day and age. I get it. But it's okay, to trust someone, and we're all gonna get our feelings hurt, right? And we have to get beyond that. And it's okay if two people are committed to the relationship and what's going on in the relationship. It's okay. I'm going to disappoint Tina. Tina's going to disappoint me, but that's okay. We're still committed to the
It
relationship.
doesn't mean that there's reason to mistrust,
Right.
right?
Right.
So, and part of that is that oftentimes we carry old baggage
Oh,
into
yeah.
our marriage.
Right.
Right. So we find this person, we marry them, and then we bring old baggage into the relationship, which part of that baggage may have been a form of mistrust.
Mm.
So someone who broke your trust, or you found out something 10 years ago,
Mhm.
20 years ago, 30 years ago, right? Sometimes 40 or 50 years ago, we're still holding that relationship and that mistrust that was in that relationship in our current marriage.
Mhm.
And so therefore it makes us think of reasons why we need to mistrust our mate. And so being aware and intentional and saying, am I mistrusting my mate because of me, or because of
Because the sit-
something that they're doing?
Right. Because of me or because of the situation.
Or because I'm misreading something.
Mhm.
I'm misreading what's going on because I think I've seen it before. And so now I'm not going to let that same thing happen that happened 10 years ago or 20 years ago.
Mm.
So we're projecting on our husband or our wife things that have happened to us in the past that has nothing to do with the relationship right now. And we have to be able to know that the mind is a powerful thing.
It sure is.
The mind is,
if-
and if you don't understand that, you should, because the mind is a powerful thing.
It controls you.
Yes, our minds can make us believe anything we want to believe.
For sure.
Right?
If you believe in your mind, your body will follow.
And so things that aren't really true
Mhm.
or real can become real in our life and become an issue in our marriage because of what's going on in our own minds.
Right.
What's
do have
going
to-
on
you-
in ours.
You do have to stand guard on your stand guard against things that's coming into your mind. That's for sure, right? What you're watching, what you're talking about, the people you're hanging around with, all those things may not be good for you or good for your relationship. So you internalize this stuff because you're around it. You're watching it on TV, and that's questionable at best at times, especially some of this programming that's going on. So then you start to live that out because Susie or whomever did this in this relationship, in this particular situation. Now I see it in mine. I can see that coming.
You're relating it to
yes.
yours, and so
And-
you're projecting
Right.
what you saw on television or social
Right. So
media.
you're living it out. So you already know, okay, you're going to do this and you're going to, and I bet you're going to deny it. Yes, here we go. And then the next thing. And then it kind of grows and grows and grows. But that's not even the case. So you just have to be controlled. You have to stay in guard of your own mind.
and your own thoughts.
Right.
So whatever we think about, we bring about. And
Yeah.
sometimes the mistrust issues are things that we are bringing into our relationship and creating that's not even there.
Mm.
So we our mate worked with someone who may be attractive,
Mhm.
and it makes us feel insecure. It's not your mate. You feel insecure because that person that your mate is working with may have it's easy to look at, right?
Yeah.
So they're easy to look at. So it makes us feel insecure. What about ourselves? So sometimes we feel threatened by people who are attractive for no reason at all. That person hasn't even done anything to you.
Or they could just be, have a better disposition than you do. They're more friendly with you, more social. And then you go like, well, you interact with them differently. Well, this is a professional level or whatever it is. You may be talking to them. So that could be an issue. It's a lot of time it's self-esteem issue. If you're more withdrawn and not a people person and all this other stuff, then when they get around someone like that and they interact, then you figure like that's a problem. I can see this going somewhere and all this other stuff. So you just have to be able to have that, constant communication with the other person.
So you have to be able to
Your mate,
realize,
not
yes.
the other person.
So we have to be able to realize that trust issues usually stem from our own insecurities, things that we plant in our own minds, things that we think we see and that we're projecting on our mate. So we have to realize that thoughts are things.
Yep.
And if I keep thinking the same thought and feeding this thought, then I'm going to believe it more and more and more. And it may not even be the situation or the case, but now I'm reacting as if it's so, as if my mate is guilty and I have reasons to mistrust them, when in actuality, the mistrust is all within ourselves, whether it stemmed from a past relationship that we're now still reliving in our current relationship, whether it's from me not feeling like we said,
adequate,
beautiful, whatever it may be.
Smart. It's just many different
things that will feed into mistrust. So we want to make sure that in our relationships, we are, as we always say, intentional, right? We want to be mindful of the things that we focus on. That's why in my relationship, I always focus on the positive, right?
There you go. Because the mind is very strong, and we want to control.
I want Jason to focus on the positive.
All the time, yes.
So what I mean by that is that, like today, I said, wow, Jason, you have a beautiful wife.
And I said, I chuckled. I didn't say anything.
He did.
Yes.
He was sort of like blushing, and he's like, what? And so instead of me pointing out to him the insecurities that I have,
that I didn't agree with you,
I don't want to do that.
Okay.
I don't. So we have to remember, if we don't feel beautiful or
Every day.
thin enough or fat enough, big enough or voluptuous enough or smart enough, we have to feed into ourselves the things that we want. We want to accentuate the positive. So I want to tell him things like, Jason, you have a beautiful wife.
Yep.
And he chuckled. And then I said, wow. And she's funny.
Right.
Because he
and
chuckled.
I said, yep. And she's very funny. She's beautiful. And she's funny. Yep. All
and
of
he
the
said,
above.
You think so? And I said, yeah. And then, so there's times, and I say that because sometimes we get too relaxed in relationships. And I say that because Jason and I have a tendency of putting on my son's old clothes, right? He has old shorts.
Old shorts, yes.
So he has a pair of old shorts, like, what do you call those shorts? Cargo shorts. Cargo shorts.
Yeah, the cargo shorts.
And they're
with
like
the pockets, yes.
And they're like a size 38. And I love them because he threw them away. And I said, okay, well, I'll do the garden and clean the house.
But you got the little thing that you tie your hair up with, and you get that holding it in front.
Right. So I put these pants on, and then I take a rubber band, and I tie the front of my pants to keep them up, right? Because they're too big. But I like them because they're big and loose.
Real nice.
Then I'll put on one of Jason's old shirts and my old shirts and my son's old shirt that nobody wants to
Two things that need to be in the
to,
garbage.
to complete this wonderful outfit.
Yeah, two things that need to be in the garbage.
And then I may just like tie up my hair and not really think about. I feel like I'm okay because
you are okay.
I feel as though he loves me for who I am.
I do.
He knows what I can look like
When you
now.
need to. Right.
Right? So I'm like, he doesn't care about what I look like. And
Right.
so I may do this 2 or 3 days, this week, next week, the week after, and I'll do it whenever I'm cleaning or stuff like that. And I don't mind going to the store like that because it's me. And so one day I got in the car and we had been in the house cleaning or whatever.
Yep.
And I got in the car because we were going to Home Depot. Shout out to Home Depot, right? And he looks at me and he goes, "Why are you dressed like that?" And I said, "Like what?" He was like, "Why are you dressed like that?" And I was really taken aback because Jason is the type of person, I'll say, "Honey, do you like my hair long or short? Whatever you like." That's what he'll say. "Whatever you like, I like whatever you like." "Honey, do you like me fat or skinny?" "It doesn't matter. Whatever you like, I like you that way." "Honey, do you like me, this or that way?" And
Yep.
he's always saying, "Whatever you like, I'll like."
Yep.
So I didn't think he mattered. It mattered what I look like. I really didn't think he
got
cared
you.
when I dressed down.
Well, is
And
that
I-
dressing down? See, that's garbage dressing. That's not dressing down.
And I honestly didn't think it bothered him. But when he said that, I was really surprised because now it made me think, well, wait a minute. So we went, if we go to the store
Mhm.
and there's another beautiful lady there that may be looking nice going to the Home Depot for whatever reason, and he might look at her, it may make me wonder, well, am I not beautiful enough? Am I not adequate enough? And so then it plants this seed of mistrust. And I have to stop myself and say, well, Tina, Jason didn't mean it like that,
Right.
right? So we have to remember that we are the thinkers that thinks the thoughts that makes the things, per Johnny Coleman. And what that means is that I create these thoughts in my mind. I create whether or not I'm feeling insecure. I create whether or not I want that to lead to me not being able to trust him. I'm feeding my insecurities. And so then I have to be mindful when I am getting up in the morning
and dressing relaxed. Right. Which is nothing
and
wrong with it.
dressing relaxed. I had to say, well, you know what? He has a point.
Okay.
You know, he has a point. I didn't think it mattered. I thought he loved me, whatever I look like.
I do.
But then I had to look at
I do.
myself. You're going out in the street looking like that. And so I was just so surprised that he said something because
And I didn't mean
I look
anything
like
bad
that a
by
lot.
it. Right.
I look like that
did
a lot.
not mean anything bad by it at all. But I was just making note
but
that
it made me aware.
Right.
It made me aware and it made me realize that I have to be aware of what I'm projecting to you.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Because you may feel like, okay, why is she dressing like this when she's with me? But when she goes somewhere by herself, because Lord knows I wouldn't look like that going to the mall.
Oh, you wouldn't,
Right?
huh? Okay.
So-
I see where you're
So
going.
I don't want for him to say, well, wait a minute, how come when she goes with me, she looks like this
Right.
and she doesn't mind, but then when she's going to the mall by herself, she has to do her hair and do her makeup and put on some nice clothes. So what does that mean? So that right there is that could mean, right, to you that now you're now thinking and feeding the thoughts of why is she doing
Why you
this?
dress this way with me? You dress down so much, and then when you go out with yourself, you dress up and you put on some nice clothes. Now I'm thinking of my insecurity. Oh, you dressing up to look nice for someone else,
Exactly.
and on and on and on.
And he
Again,
can continue to feed that thought.
right. And now I'm having an attitude every time you want to go out and go somewhere.
Right.
And so I'm upset for no reason.
No reason.
And now I'm projecting for no reason.
Absolutely.
So that's what I said. Is it my insecurities that's causing the friction, or
Right.
is it
Something that's
something
really
real
valid.
that's valid?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So often in our relationships, we have a lot of issues that we project on our mate that's not even our mate's fault.
Right.
It's because of what we're thinking, what we're
Baggage.
feeding,
Mhm.
our baggage, and how we allow those thoughts to take over the relationship and become the weeds in our relationship.
And that's the thing, and that's the key point right there. something taking over, the weeds taking over your relationship. So yeah, you have that thought, you feel a certain way, but then you got to snap yourself back and say, hey, no, this is not it. I'm just dressing this way, or she's dressing this way because she's going out to do whatever. She's going to be gone for a few hours, not making a quick run to the store. It's a difference, right? So
Go ahead. No, I'm just gonna say
as I said, it just makes a big difference of the situation. But again, you have to control your mind, because these thoughts do come in.
Yes.
Why do they come in? They come in because of past experiences from wherever.
past
right?
experience from television,
Right.
our parents,
Right.
our friends, our
Mhm.
old relationships,
Yep.
things that we have been taught and we've heard, right? So so that's why we talk about self-development. And that's the point in our relationship where I have to say, or Jason has to say, or you have to say, am I feeding things that I don't need to feed?
Right.
Right. So we
Yep.
don't need to talk about or think about negative things if we don't want negative things in our relationship.
There you go.
So, and that's what I mean by I want to point out to Jason, instead of me saying, Jason, I don't like the way I look in this. I'm gonna say,
Yeah, don't
I'm
give me
gonna
that.
find-
Don't give
I'm
me
gonna
that question.
find something I look really good in,
Right.
and I'm gonna say, "Oh,
Right.
baby, don't I look good?" So I'm going to find
Yeah.
the things that
Yeah.
are going to be positive in my relationship, or I'm going to tell him, "Wow, honey, you really look nice today," or "Wow, you like." Like I tell him,
Go ahead.
like sometimes I tell him when he's working, like nothing turns me on better to seeing a man work, right? When you're
Right.
working, honey, that turns me on.
Mhm.
So that means that's positive. That
Right.
means I like it when you work. I like to see you work. I don't want to disturb you, but from a distance, that I love that. So I want to
You keep talking like that, I ain't gonna be doing much work, because I'm gonna start working and I'm gonna stop. So I'm just gonna say, I'm just saying.
So we always want to focus on the things in our relationships that are positive,
Mhm.
and we want to feed those thoughts. We want to stop anything that is negative and does not serve our relationship in the highest point possible. We want to stop thinking those thoughts. I'm not, and like I said, I'm not talking about being, blind or
Not pay attention to those
ob-
cues and
right,
things. We
oblivious
know.
to things
Right.
that are valid, that are really going on. That's
Right.
not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about putting things in our relationship that's not there because of our own insecurities,
Right.
and being aware of it, and then removing them.
Right. Choosing the good, right? Understanding that I choose to look at the positive out of everything. So I mean, because we have a choice,
It's not
right?
a thing. It's not a thing. But it's how you look at it.
It's right. It's
Right?
not the thing. It's not the thing at all. But it's how I
Exactly.
look at the thing. People
Exactly.
always use the analogy: is the glass half empty or half full,
Half
or,
full.
half full, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
So it's like that. Is this a problem or not a problem, or what good can I get out of this situation?
And it's not what he does. It's my perception of what he does, right? It's
Exactly.
how do I choose to look at something? How is my relationship going? How are my thoughts going? And that's where it takes you to do your own self-work to say, why am I thinking this?
Mm.
What is going on with me that's making me feed into these thoughts, act this way, and then project it onto my mate, and then put it into my marriage, putting issues that don't need to be there, right? So it's not a thing like Jason and I always talk about. It's nothing that happens, but how do I see it
How do I react to?
determines how I'm going to react.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So if I'm looking at it through the lens of love or through the lens of understanding, therefore my reaction is going to be totally different. So we have to be able to understand what are causing these trust issues in our relationship. It can be age. We always
Yeah.
talk about men go through midlife crisis.
I think everybody goes through
I
some
think
type
everyone
of crisis.
does, but
yeah.
we see men more because that's when they get to that age where
They
you know,
barely stick out.
where they're
Oh.
great, all of that, but they
Okay.
go and buy a sports car, right?
Yeah.
Or they go.
Well, this is around the time we can afford one.
Probably.
The kids
most
are
people.
gone. I can get that sports car
Exactly.
now. Yeah.
So, but our insecurities come from aging. It comes
Yeah.
from gaining weight. It comes from wrinkling. It comes from seeing other people younger and more beautiful and more
Right.
youthful. It comes from the television. It comes from social media. It comes
Oh, it definitely
from
comes from social
the-
media. That's for sure.
society as a whole.
Yeah.
But we have to determine what are we going to allow our thoughts to think on, right? What
Right.
are we going to allow to grow in our minds?
Yeah. We have to take control of that mind, right?
What is important in our relationship so that I can understand when I am projecting and when I need to be paying attention, which is two totally different things. I need to pay attention if my mate, constantly does this.
Mhm.
And we're
Right.
not talking about dating right now. We're talking about people who have chosen the commitment of marriage and, you know, continually mistrust or abuse your trust.
Right.
That's totally different. That's when
Right.
you need
That
to
when-
be fine-tuned.
Right.
And
When you
then
see
this is
that, you
something
move
you
on.
need to talk about and work through.
Right.
But there are so many marriages that do not have trust issues that we project those trust issues into our marriage.
Right, and it's just lingering there, right? After a while, we're not talking about it. You feel a certain way, they feel a certain way.
You're
and-
upset because of
upset-
something that's
upset
not
for no
true,
reason.
and then because you're upset, I'm upset. Now we're both upset. No one knows what
and
we're
we
upset
haven't said
about.
a word about it.
And the thing is that is nothing to even be upset about.
If you would have the conversation, or you just do some self work and look at it and say, is this something that I'm thinking, thinking into existence,
Exactly.
or is this something that's actually, really happening?
Exactly.
That's the difference right there. So you got to go back and look at it. This happened to me, happened to me with another relationship. Now here it is again. I see some of those same signs, but are they really the same signs, or are you dreaming them into your new relationship?
So we talked about how the mind is very powerful, right? So and I say this because I want you to go on this little trip with me, okay? And I had did this to Jason one day in the car because I was just thinking like, wow, like even though I know the mind is very powerful,
Very.
sometimes we forget just how powerful it is.
Right.
So I want you to go on this little trip with me. So everyone who's watching, I want you to see us all getting ready to climb this mountain, this huge mountain. Let's look up, and it's so high that we can't even see the top. And so I want you to close your eyes and picture yourself getting ready to climb this mountain. And most of us may be afraid of heights, but we have been told that it's okay. We have the harness on, the straps on, and there's
Yeah.
nothing that can
We have
happen.
all the safety
We're-
equipment.
All the safety equipment. We're gonna, and it's an easy mountain to get up. So this is the easiest mountain. So we're gonna climb to the top. And so I want you to picture yourself, all of us, having fun. You're with a bunch of friends. You're with us, and we're climbing this mountain. So I really want you to put yourself in that spot as if you're there. I want you to put yourself, we're all at the base of this mountain, and now we begin to climb. We're excited, we're having fun, because even though the mountain is high, it's easy to climb. And so we begin to climb the mountain, right? We're all harnessed up, we got straps on, and there's no way anything can happen, right? So we get to the top of this mountain, and we look over, and it's really, 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 really far down. We can't see the base anymore. We're at the top of this mountain, and for some reason, one person accidentally slips in looking over. And then by them falling, they're connected to everyone else. Now we all are starting to fall over this mountain. You're falling. Oh my God, you see the first person falling, the second person falling. You're trying to get your harness off. And then we all begin to fall over the mountain. The thoughts in your mind, you feel like you're fearful. You feel like something's happening, right? I did this thing with Jason in the car, and the thing was that we can be afraid as if we're there, and we're not even there. That's just how powerful the mind is that it can make our heart race for something that seems real that's not even real, because we believe it's real in our mind. That's just how powerful it is with your relationship. Your relationship can be what you create it to be, whether negative, positive, with trust issues or without trust issues, depending on what you believe in your mind to be true.
And like I said, it starts in the mind. What the mind believes, the body will follow. Also, as we were going through and you felt that.
And you begin to create
And
these
you,
things.
right, you create it. I mean, like I'm sitting here, I'm not in the mountain, but if I feel like I'm connected to someone and the other person looks over and fall, I can feel that emotion. And then I'm trying to get my harness off and I can't, and then I'm falling, right? And the emotion to go along with that, right? So the body now is reacting to what's going on in my mind.
And so what we mean by that is that if I believe that I have a reason to mistrust my mate, everything I see, everything they do is now, if I choose to believe that I have a reason, everything is going to feed into that belief. I'm now going to mistrust my mate
Ooh.
for something that the mate didn't even do. But because my mind believes that is true, it's now going to become a part of our relationship and an issue in our relationship that it didn't need to be. So that's where we have to do the self work. We have to realize what are the issues in our marriages? How did they get there? And how can we resolve them? Do they stem from myself? Do they stem from me and my insecurities? Do they stem from a valid point? Do they stem from past hurts 10, 20, 30 years ago in a relationship that I'm no longer in? I'm now married to someone else, and I'm now still mistrusting because of a mistrust that was in an old relationship. We have to realize that we create the marriage that we want. We create the thoughts that we think.
Yep.
And so if I'm thinking this, I'm now focusing all my attention on it, and everything that I see and do, I'm going to feed into that.
Right.
And so now I'm going to start bringing negative things into my relationship. We're going to be arguing. I'm going to be upset. I'm going to have trust issues.
Right.
I'm going to want him or her to do things to make me feel better because now I'm mistrusting.
Right. So what happens is the universe goes out and goes and get everything that supports this feeling.
Yep.
Right.
Makes you see it through the lens of what you think you're seeing.
Yep. So, you go, oh man, he's doing this or she's doing this and this. The universe goes, yep, that's what you're thinking. Let me go get some of that for you. Yep. You want to get this feeling? Let me bring some of this in here for you.
And that's with any relationship. So we're talking about marriage in particular, but it's the same thing at work. It's the same thing with your children. Whatever you put your energy, effort, and time into, that's what it's going to be.
You bring it into your existence.
Exactly. So if we want to get rid of trust issues that are caused from our own thinking, we have to, one, be aware of them. And we have to do the self-work that's going to eliminate them. And it's not easy. Trust is not something that we can just snap on and off. It's going to take work.
Sure.
Right? Because as we said, we're taught at a very young age not to trust people.
That's right.
But at what point do we say, okay, trust this person, but don't trust that person?
Yes.
And then if we're hurt, that mistrust,
then we really
don't trust people.
Right.
And so it carries on into our relationships. And then if for some reason we date someone at an early age, not even married, and they break our trust, then we're now carrying that into our marriage. So it's a continuous vicious cycle, but we have to be able to understand and decipher how and when to trust. And if we've married someone and they're worthy of trust, why are we bringing trust issues into our relationship and not realizing that they're stemming from ourselves?
But the other thing is this, babe, you trust somebody and then they break your trust.
Right.
You decide to forgive them. You forget it, but you don't really forget. You forgive them, but you don't really forget it, which is not good either.
Exactly.
Or you feel embarrassed because you didn't told your friends and family members about this situation, and now you're still, with them, with the person.
We're talking about married people, though.
We're talking about married people, right? But you're talking to your loved ones about the situation, and how can you still be there? How can you trust him? He let you down, or she let you down, But you got to get beyond that. If you make the decision to be there and to work on it and to work on this whole trust issue, because
you can't let others' interpretations and opinions of what you should.
Now that get a lot of people in trouble when you're working on your stuff. Yeah, we're all gonna get this. We're gonna get disappointed, and things are going to come up. People outside the relationship is not going to understand that, and that's fine because that's their level of understanding. But as you're working through whatever the situation is to help build back the trust, then that's between you two.
You can't start to build trust by still mistrusting.
Right.
Right? So if you make the decision and the commitment to stay together and trust each other, you have to work on the trust. Right? You can't continue. Two things cannot occupy the same space at the same time. I can't say I'm going to trust you, and then everything I see and everything you do, I'm going to have a thought of mistrust with it. Now, trust takes time to rebuild. It takes time for, to get back to that point of actually trusting your mate if you've had a valid reason not to trust them for whether it's money issues, whether it's infidelity, whether it's sex, whether it's gambling, whether it's, pornography. There's a lot of reasons to mistrust.
Purchasing big items.
Purchasing big items, right? Doing things that when we say trust just does not stem from infidelity. It stems from a lot of different issues.
Right. And
thinking of that person, can I trust you to be here? Can I trust you to love me?
Right.
Can I trust you to protect me?
Yep.
Can I trust you to provide for me? Trust comes from a lot of different things, and our past and our thoughts create what's going on in our relationship right now.
Mhm.
So we have to make sure that when we talk about working on trust issues, that we're working from where they're stemming from,
Mhm.
what is causing them, and why do I feel this way?
That's the most important part. Find out the root of the issue, not the one that you may be dealing with right now, because that may not be the root of the issue.
Mm-hmm.
So go back a little bit and see. Are you worried because a person gambles? You're going to lose your home or lose your place of residence because that may have happened to you in the past. All these things kind of come up so that you have trust with that. Well, I'm not going to do this. I got to put my money away just in case something happens. So
We would be surprised at all of the
Yeah,
different types of
and
trust
it's
issues that go into relationships.
right, and it's little bitty things, right? We don't even think of a lot of situations why you feel certain ways, and we all have our quirks and stuff like that, But a lot of it stems from our childhood, by what we were told, what we saw, basically. And you go like, yeah, when I get grown, I'm not gonna. No, we're not gonna let this happen. I'm gonna hold on to that. And then that's what we grow up with. And then as time goes on, we end up in all these different relationships, and then we kind of mold and mold and mold and mold as we go from our first relationship,
And
which
we're building mistrust and
Right.
mistrust and mistrust and
Right.
mistrust. And then we wonder why we get into a relationship and we're having issues and we don't realize that it's all stemming from the point of mistrust that things that
start out
happen-
early.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Started out real early when we couldn't really decipher the difference between trust and mistrust. We just knew it hurt us.
So we have to, as we said, the mind is very powerful.
Yep.
And
Control your thoughts.
yes, control your thoughts. Be aware of why you are projecting trust issues into your relationship and discuss them and talk about them. We always talk about it, but the first and foremost thing is to understand where they're coming from and do your self-work into resolving them, because oftentimes if we resolve them within ourselves, they resolve themselves in our relationship.
100%.
All right. So I think that is going to, for me, I don't have anything else to say. I just want us to make sure that we are intentional in our relationships,
Yeah.
that we're understanding where our problems stem from, and that we are tackling them one at a time, right? And most of the time, we have to do our self work in order for the relationship to work. I can't expect Jason to, you know, put all my trust in him
Right.
to make sure that he's creating the marriage I want.
Right.
Right? So we have to do our own individual work and then do the marriage work together.
That's for sure. Yep. And I mean, it works out, right? Everybody has a part to play in this whole relationship, right?
Absolutely.
I have a part to play, and Tina has a part to play as well. So I can't say I need you to do everything to make me happy.
Exactly.
That's not
I
going
need
to
you
work.
to do everything so that I don't have any trust issues.
Right.
I want you to walk this straight line so that I don't have any thoughts. I want you to make sure that you do X, Y, and Z so that I am secure and I don't have any trust issues. That's crazy, right? When we say it that
That
way,
is
we hear how crazy that sounds.
Right.
But that's what some of us think.
Right.
We think that it's our mate that our mate should make sure that we don't have trust issues, that we don't have insecurities. And the true work comes from ourselves. Because most of the time, our mate has no idea, and these are stemming from insecurities and problems that we either had or we're thinking up, right? They come as we get older.
That's right.
Right? Some insecurities come as we get older. I don't know. Time is really flying by fast, so we have to make sure we make the most out of the time that we have together now. Create the marriage, create the life that you want, and let go of anything and all things that are negative and that do not serve your relationship or you any good.
And that's the main thing right there. If it doesn't serve you any good, then don't let it go. I mean, we can think about
don't feed into it.
we can find all types of problems. We always talk about problems, but there's a lot of good that goes on in relationships. So what are you going to focus on? Focus on the good things.
It's a choice.
And
right?
then the other it's a choice. Focus on the good things, and then the other things will work themselves out because you're really focusing on the good things. Yeah, you made me upset, but you know what? I still love you. I still like the way you
why did I get upset?
Right.
Why did I get upset over something that you did? Why does it make me upset?
Right.
So understanding, again, where is the problem stemming from? Why do I feel insecure? Why do I feel like I can't trust this person or that person? Where is it stemming from? So understanding it's not what happens to you, but how you react. It's not what someone does to you, but how you react.
Right.
And so we all have a choice. Marriage is a choice, relationship is a choice, being upset is a choice. We all have a choice to choose, what are we going to think? What are we going to see? What are we going to apply in our relationship? More
Happy's being a choice,
positive
too.
or more negative?
Yeah, yeah.
Happiness is a choice.
Right. It's all a choice. So I mean, like
Everything.
if you want a happy relationship, you can definitely have that. I mean, the choice is yours and how you know work on it and what you focus on, what you think about, you bring about, and then that changes your whole life, world, and affairs. Right. So it said the first thing you want to do if you want to change your life, change your mind. So once you change your mind, your whole and or view, you know how you view things, your whole life will change. Your whole outlook on life will change.
So we have to make sure that we're looking through the lens of things that serve us and our highest purpose, things that are positive and not things that are negative. Because negative attracts more negative, which attracts more negative. Same thing with positive. Positive attracts more positive, which attracts more positive. So if we want a better relationship and a better life, we have to make sure that our sight and our thoughts are focusing on the positive things and not the negative things. And if there's things that bother us, we have to work it out and ask ourselves, why does this bother me so? What is it about this situation or this thing or that thing that bothers me, that makes me feel insecure or make me feel as though I cannot trust my mate, right? So we have to figure out, where are these issues coming from? Are they in our mind? Are we feeding them?
Right.
Are we feeding them things that aren't true
Right.
because we want them to be true, or they have been true in the past? So we have to make sure that we're deciphering between, is it real or is it my mind? It's my mind playing tricks on me, because we talk about the mind is very powerful. It can make you believe anything you want it to believe. And so, my son did, and I know this is off, but my son did a science project, I think when he was like in 3rd or 4th grade. Does the mind control the body, or does the body control the mind? And that was a very powerful science project, right? So we think, oh, if I want to do this, my body wants to move, I'm going to tell my mind. But understanding that the mind has complete control of what the body does.
100%.
There's a lot of voluntary things that the body does, but it all stems from the mind.
That's right. Hello, Earl and Vicky. Nice to see you guys.
And I think that is going to wrap up this episode of our Friday Night Live. And next week, we are going to be talking about, what did Vicky say?
Vicky said, yes, our minds can run a number on us. Oh, it can.
Absolutely.
It can. And that's why you have to stand guard at the doorway of your mind. Control your thoughts, because you can
What you let
one
in.
thought can get in and it can just run rampant in your head.
It's like those weeds. All
Yep.
you need is to plant one. You don't even plant weeds, right?
Right.
So
They
we
just
have
grow up
all
on their
these-
own.
We have all these good things going on in our
Yep.
relationship, and then we have this one negative thought because of something that we see, or something that triggers it, or a television show makes us think it, or whatever, right? A friend says, hey, I saw your wife or your husband or this, that, and the other. So we have this one thought that enters our mind, and then if we decide to focus on it, it can take complete control.
Boy.
I know I do that. I do that sometimes with my kids, right? It's so funny. I see these memes where they say, this is what my mom thinks if I don't answer. And it was this girl, in a ditch with the car, and so I showed my daughter, she's like, exactly. And it's funny because if she doesn't answer and it's late at night and I haven't heard from her, the first thing my mind does is go to the worst possible scenario.
Right. And the universe goes out there and grabs all these different things to
And
support
I
it,
start thinking
right?
it, and I say, wait. And then I have to get in touch with the real Tina.
And then she be like, baby, did she didn't answer? I said, okay, well, maybe she didn't hit the phone,
And then I have to collect my thoughts and say, everything is in divine order.
Yeah.
Everything is good. Everything is great. Exactly, Vicky. Exactly, right? The first thing we want to go to is the most negative, terrible, worst thing it could be.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why? Like, I'm not even that type of person. Why do I do that? But because we love so hard, or because negative is so strong, right? We always want, that's what we have been taught, to revert to the worst thing possible. So I see something in my mate, and because I'm insecure, I was looking my worst. I've gained 20 pounds, and now the first thing I think is, wow, he wants somebody younger and thinner or whatever, right? We all have these insecurities that we project and make them trust issues. And our mate is like, what the heck is going on?
Yep. So that's what I said. We have to be in control, like you said, Vicky. Yeah, we have to be in control of our mind and control what we
Bring
think.
up that about right there. Yep. What did we say? It just meant why.
Yeah.
Why do we always think the worst? Exactly.
Oh my God!
Exactly.
Yeah, our
And-
mind just goes there right away.
Why? Why? Like of all, and so I had to really train my mind in my relationship
Yeah,
because
she says insecure. Yes.
yes,
Yes.
yes, I had to really train my mind in my relationship and in being a parent. Right.
Yep.
And so oftentimes, because Jason deals with a lot of women and even Jason, right? Me dealing with other people outside, I had to really train my mind into why am I feeding into this craziness?
Right.
You know, why do I listen or see something and I immediately wanted to think it's the worst? And I have to stand guard of my mind. And so that was a changing point in my relationship because then I had to realize what is making me feel insecure.
Yep.
What is it? And it wasn't him. It was me. It was
Right.
what I was insecure about myself, right? We all have insecurities, whatever it may be. And so therefore, we have to be able to realize don't feed these thoughts because it's like when you go to the forest and they say don't feed the animals. There's a reason why they say that,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And
Because
so
you end up following you home.
or they end up taking all your food and you dead. They end up eating you, right? Just like the thoughts, they take control over your body. And as we said, your thoughts, because you're thinking them, they feel real.
Well, they are real to you.
You're upset. You're anxious.
They're real.
Your heart is racing
Mhm.
for this craziness that you're thinking that, and it's not even that.
Right.
No matter what it is, you done got yourself in a frenzy and
Over nothing.
over nothing.
Yep.
Over nothing.
And we've done that on a number of occasions, like, ooh, I feel a pain in my leg.
Different levels
Right.
of things.
Yeah, I got a pain in my leg. Oh, you think I might have to get it amputated? I mean, like, I don't know. I don't know what's wrong. Because, I had a cousin that happened to, and then they had that same type of pain, and then you just, and the thoughts and thoughts and thoughts. And before you know it, you laid up in the hospital worrying about something that you shouldn't be worried about.
And only thing negative does is bring more negative. So if I cannot stress anything else in this conversation is that we have to accentuate the positive.
Yes, that's true.
Okay.
Yeah, Earl always in on you about thinking the worst. Because sometimes when you think it
exactly.
becomes the truth. It becomes your reality. What you think about, you bring about.
And that is the same thing with insecurities in our relationship, right? Or trust issues.
Mm-hmm.
You ever heard a person say, well, she kept thinking and kept thinking and she kept blaming me, or he kept blaming me.
So I went out and did it.
So I went out and did it.
Yep.
And that's an excuse, really. But oftentimes we bring negative experiences into our life that may not even lead to that,
Mhm.
but it leads to other problems.
Right.
So because we have trust issues, we feed into that, we feed into that, we feed into that, and then other things become true that didn't even, whatever we focus our attention on, we're going to manifest in our lives. Point blank, period.
Yep.
If I put all my energy and that I can do something,
Mhm.
I can do it. If
Yep.
I put all my energy into something that I don't believe I can, I'm not
You're
going to be
gonna-
able to do it.
Yep.
So whatever we think, that is what is going to become. So we have to be careful of what we're thinking.
Control your thoughts.
We have to be careful of what we're thinking. Is it true?
Mm-hmm.
Does it have substance? Does it stand on something?
Right.
Or is it our own insecurities that we're projecting into our marriage and into our relationship from past relationships, from past hurts, from whatever?
Childhood,
Whatever it is.
caregivers, wherever it came from.
We have to pay attention to our thoughts and what we're feeding them and what we're focusing on.
100%.
All right.
Like Johnny always said, we're the thinker that think the thoughts that make the things.
And as Vicky said, we think it so much that it becomes true. That's
true.
what we mean by we are the thinker. I can think something and think something and think something. And that's with anything. If I'm focusing, and we don't
Good
realize,
or bad.
Exactly. What we don't realize is that whatever we put our attention in, that is what we're going to bring to us. That is what we're going to attract to us because that's what we're focused on. And then when it comes to us, we go, well, why is it happening if this wasn't true? It's happening because you're focusing all your attention and making it true. You're focusing your attention on something that you want to believe is true. So the universe is saying, okay, well, this is what you want. Let me give it to you.
That's so true. Well, the Bible says, lean not unto your own understanding. 100%.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
100%.
And so we have to make sure that we are paying attention to what we are doing in our marriage and not blaming our mate.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of the issues in marriage stem from us not doing the work. When I say us, I mean you as an individual not doing the work that you need to do to be your best person in that relationship.
Is that another word for like when you say insecurities, like hang-ups? Because I always say people got hang-ups about this, people have hang-ups about that.
It could be. It
you
could
know,
be.
you know.
So our insecurities could be hang-ups.
Hang-ups, right.
Mhm.
Yeah. It's just another way of looking at it or wording it.
That's why whenever I have a hang-up about myself,
mm-hmm.
I'm going to say the positive thing so that Jason can see only the positive. So if it's something
because
don't like.
because I don't know what's actually going on up there in that head.
Exactly. And so
Right.
when I see something
Mhm.
that I don't like about myself.
Yeah, please tell me. I mean,
No.
please tell me something positive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Yes.
Right? Just like I told him, you have a beautiful wife because I want him to say to himself, man, I have a beautiful wife.
Now,
and
was
she's funny and she's smart
Yeah.
and she supports me. And right. And so I because men don't do that. Men don't come and say, you know what, honey? Like whatever hang up they have about themselves, I don't find you doing that.
No, we keep that stuff close to the belt, baby. Nope.
So,
You don't let that stuff out.
therefore,
Listen, if you
we
ain't
can't
happy with
throw
it, you
back
ain't.
a bit.
we
Because
ain't
if I
trying-
tell you the negative part about me, right, then that means you're going to focus on that negative, and I don't want you to see the negative. Because if I don't like it, I don't want you to see it.
Yeah, that's smart. Yeah,
Exactly.
Don't tell me about
Exactly.
that.
I don't want to tell you.
Because then I might end up joking about it, and then you be all bent on the side. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Like so, we all have some insecurities about ourselves,
Yeah, for sure.
and
Yeah.
I love myself. I
Yeah.
do, but I don't love everything about myself.
Oh, that's okay. I learned too. I mean, like when I started looking in the mirror and my hair started turning gray and all stuff, I was like, wow, who is this guy? Right? I didn't think I was gonna get to this point when I was young and vibrant and stuff, head full of hair and all this other stuff. It's like, wow. I was like, I'm not gonna get gray and all this other stuff. Well, that didn't last
So
too long.
self-esteem is a big thing because that's one of those buzzwords that we throw around, self-esteem, but it's really important that we understand what that means, right? How we feel about ourselves. We may not, and how we look at ourselves and how we feel about ourselves becomes those thoughts that make us insecure, right? That make us lack the self-esteem, and then we want to blame someone else for something that we're thinking about ourselves that may or may not even be true.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? So we have to be careful with so much. And part of this podcast and part of this Friday Night Live and part of us doing this is to help couples understand that a lot of our issues in marriage stem from the individual themselves, that they project onto the marriage or bring into the marriage, and then they want to blame the marriage or their mate.
Right. But what we're going to do, we're going to work about, we're going to work on each other, and then we're going to set the issues on the table, right? And we'll deal with the issues as they come up. But first, we're going to work on the individuals within the marriage. We're going to separate some of these issues out because we need to be able to attack the issue. So if we can take the issue away and put it on the table, then it's us against the issue instead of us being against one another, fighting over an issue. But we have to be able to love each other, deal with each other, and have self-esteem to be able to deal with the problem or the situation that's sitting on the table.
And support each other through it.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Support each other.
But it's different if we're together and we're tackling one thing, just like anything else that comes up in life, right? When there's something going on, we'll get together and be like, hey, we're going to go tackle this problem, right? And
Right.
we'll do that. But if I'm fighting you and the problem at the same time.
Well, that's the problem. That's the problem right there. We think that when we have a problem, it's the problem against, it's me and the problem against him and the problem. When the issue is that if he and I are in this relationship together, we're a team. Everything that comes up in our marriage, we have to say, how do we handle this so that it's not an issue in our relationship?
Yep.
How is it us against what is going on?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the mindset and the intention and the difference between marriages that work and marriages that don't work.
Or struggle.
right?
Or struggle. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, before we get out
Or
of here.
struggle.
Yeah, they struggle, but that's okay.
We have to understand where these issues are coming from, how to knock them down, how to resolve them, how to break down these barriers, how to eliminate that, and how to have the marriage that we truly want. Because no one, I don't think there's anyone on this earth that wants to be unhappy.
That's right.
I love
You don't want to
being
be
happy.
unhappy, and you don't want to be in an unhappy relationship. I can guarantee that.
So if I don't want to be unhappy, what makes me think he wants to be unhappy?
Right. And I know we don't need to be unhappy together.
Exactly. So we want to make sure that our marriages are taken off of cruise control. We are intentional and we're understanding what the issues are and how to resolve them. And I think that's all I have to say for today, because now we are out of time. But before we leave, we want you guys to make sure that you know where to get our podcast.
You know, it comes out every Wednesday, wherever you get your podcast delivered. Or you can go to lovingbeyondtheido.com and you can get a whole list of all of our podcasts.
Or you can go to our website, right?
Yep, at legendaryrelationship.com. But
And get our podcast. You can get our, what do you call those things?
Everything. We put it at legendaryrelationship.com
right.
/info. You can get everything there. You can get Friday Night Live, our YouTube, our Instagram,
Our blog,
our vlog, you
our
name
videos. So
Yep.
if you don't know how to get, if you don't have the podcast on your phone, everyone has it.
Yep.
So if you don't have the podcast app on your phone, just go and get it. Right? All you gotta do is download it from the store, either Apple Store or the Google Store, whichever one. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and you can search Loving Beyond the I Do,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll come up.
Yep.
Or you
Or-
can watch us. You
or-
can watch how
well-
silly me and Jason are when you can go to YouTube and just search Loving Beyond the I Do.
Or Legendary Relationship. But if you just follow this link at legendaryrelationship.com /info, it'll take you to all of those different locations. You can be able to find us everywhere that we are. And we are in a lot of places.
Absolutely. So we want you to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel so that you can know where we are, what's going on, when we're coming out, when we're live, when we drop a new podcast, when we're doing special events. You can get it all. So make sure you subscribe to our channel. Make sure you like and share.
Yep.
It only takes a second to like it and share it. You don't have to say a single thing, just like it and share it. If you know that marriages today need advice,
and
better
help.
work, right?
Yep.
If we're taking marriages off cruise control,
Mm-hmm.
then like and share, because there's a relationship out there somewhere or a marriage that needs to hear what we have to deliver.
Yep. So just do us a favor and just share this out. We
Or
greatly
do
appreciate it.
yourself a favor.
Yep. Share it out.
Do them a favor.
Yeah, actually, that's what you know. That's right.
All right. So Monique is here. So hey Monique, hey
Yep.
family, happy Friday.
Yeah.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
And congratulations on the new grandbaby.
Yep. Congrats.
All right. So guys, that's it for us.
Don't forget to share. Share the video. Share the link. We're just
Share
trying to
with
spread.
young marriages,
Or-
old marriages, in
Right.
between marriages, all marriages, because we all need the support of one another to understand how to make marriages work. Don't let our marriages go on cruise control. And if it is, how do we take them off?
That's right. We definitely want to do that. All right. So that's about it, baby girl. Let's get on up out of here. It's been a pleasure hanging out with you guys, but I
Yes.
think we are done for today.
I think we're done for today. We got our workout on, so now we can go enjoy our Friday Night Live.
Yeah.
After our live, now we can go to enjoy our Friday night lives. We can go enjoy a date night.
Yep. There you go.
Put some of that how to reconnect together.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we'll do a nice card game.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
All right.
I'll lose on purpose.
I'm sure. All right, guys. Well, that sums it up for another Friday Night Live with us. And as always,
We're in it to win it.